Hi everyone, I'm Heather Black, CEO of Supermums, and I run the Consultancy Skills Course that helps Salesforce professionals upskill and learn all these amazing skill sets around business analysis, agile project management, change management, and coaching to help manage a project and keep it going in the right way. Now, today I'm doing a little bite-sized training on the 5 communication tools to manage your Salesforce project, because when you're managing projects, there's lots of information that needs to be shared between different parties, whether that's you and the team and the customer you're working with, or the Salesforce team that you're working with to build the system. And so there's lots of great tools out there, and I'd love for any of you to share in the comments what tools you use within your Salesforce practice, why it's great, what some of the strengths are, some of the weaknesses as well, because I haven't yet found anybody that says this is a perfect combination, it does absolutely everything for us. So we'd love to kind of get your honest feedback in the comments. I'm not promoting any specific tools today, so these will be really nice value adds to this session. But let's talk into what type of tools you might need. And then that can help you think about, well, actually, what do we use, or what would I need if I was going to go down this route? What you want to do is get away from sort of having email exchanges with people, because information gets lost in emails. There's no deadlines or tasks for people. And if you're doing that with clients, they'll just get overwhelmed, they'll lose the thread, and they quite often will then not get information back to you in time, or get lost in emails, and that's where projects then get extended and don't get finished on time, because there's quite often delays. So if you were thinking about the perfect world, you as a Salesforce professional, you've got a Salesforce team maybe aside you, but also you've got your team, your customers that you're working with to implement this. And between you all, you need a shared space and a shared way of managing tasks that need to be done, sharing information, conversing back and forth on some of those requirements. And so you want that central pivotal place where you can all collaborate rather than within emails. So that's kind of the baseline, I suppose, for this session. So just clicking through these different areas. So the first type of tool that you need is somewhere that manages time and budget, particularly if you are working as an independent Salesforce consultant or working for an SI. Quite often your arrangement with a client will be, delivering on a project within a time and a certain budget. So you would want a project management system that will identify all the things that need to be done as sort of tasks, where there are timelines associated, but also where you can log time that you've used against a project, so you can see clearly where you are and how much time and budget they have left. So that's the first type of tool that you'll be needing. The second tool is a tool where you can manage user requirements. And these are all the functional, non-functional requirements and the technical requirements that need to be built. Now, you might find there's a system that can do project management and those things together, or quite often, having spoken to a lot of Salesforce professionals, they will be separate systems, and user requirements will be logged elsewhere. Now, the benefit or the features that you'll want to be having for user requirements is quite often there's more clarity and more questions that you'll need. There'll be documents associated with the user requirements. So say, for example, you were building a new object and you needed all to know what fields you need to be building, or email templates. Ideally, file sharing will be integrated with the user requirements. Also, you might need clarity on some of those fields or documents. So a way of collaborating again with people is really important. So ideally, you want integrations or a tool that can do everything like this together. So that leads me on to communication tools, that collaboration tool. Obviously, Salesforce has Slack, and Slack integrates with a lot of other third-party tools. So I know some Salesforce professionals do use that. But that communication tool, as I say, moving away from emails and thinking, well, how do we collaborate with a team or customer around a specific requirement? How do we get clarity on something? How do we have it all documented and recorded? Because that audit trail is also really important. Clarifying who said what and when can really help overcome any challenges later on when something was done and then there was a dispute about it. The reality is these things will happen. And so having a communication thread where conversation is saved and stored and it's very clear for everybody about what's been asked is really important for authenticity and making sure everything is say clearly documented and there's no room for error or dispute later on. So think about how you can have integrated or embedded communication tools within both the project management system, the user requirement system, around these aspects. Now, number 4 is file sharing. So as I mentioned, you're going to have files that need to be shared. These files Might be things like what fields they want, or questionnaires, or email templates, things that information that you need to build the system. Also, file sharing could include more sensitive information. For example, if you are doing a data import for a client, quite often I sort of caution against perhaps holding that client data on your own files, your filing system as a Salesforce professional, and use the client's filing system wherever possible, where they can open it up to you. But otherwise, you'll need sort of a way of making sure that any files you hold are very secure and safe, but shared in a certain way. Again, you don't want those coming through on emails. And then number 5 is process mapping. So process mapping is where you're going to map out the process within an organization. Ideally, you'll want a tool where they can then use and repurpose those process maps and edit them on the long term, because what you don't want to do as a Salesforce professional is build these lovely process maps, which will inevitably get changed and updated because processes always evolve, as we know. But then if you do them in a product where you're the only one that can use it, the reality is then that client needs to then rebuild those process maps from start if anything gets changed. So when I was working as a Salesforce consultant, we very much want to use a system and a tool where we're like saying to the client, well, look, this is a tool that you can manage, and we'll give you access to these process maps and you can own them long term. So think about that process mapping software where you can give ownership to the team or the customer that's going to be adapting and evolving their processes after your specific intervention with them. So I hope that's given you food for thought. There's quite a lot there. There are some great tools on the market where you can integrate. The likelihood is you definitely need more than one. You might need to invest in these tools as well as an SI or an independent consultant. And even as an in-house solo admin, you are not immune to this. Working as an in-house Salesforce team and having all these things in place is best practice, and what we'd highly recommend, just to manage your workflow, coordinate things with teams internally. So I hope that you found that useful. We give lots of examples and talk through this and give demos on our Consultancy Skills course. As I've mentioned, we run a 3-month course which helps people upskill as a Salesforce professional. And this really has helped people get those new promotions, feel more confident at work, increase their salary potential. And it's just amazing to see where they all are now and where they're flying, because we give you all the tools and templates to hit the ground running. So if we can help you, please do see the link to the course in the description. As I say, please do comment on any tools that you use, the strengths and weakness of those. That would be absolutely amazing, because I think that's great to collaborate and share on that stuff as well. So thank you very much for listening, and hope to hear from you soon. Take care and have a great day. Bye.